Hello everyone, here is another game in our series win with the closed Sicilian. This game is from the Soviet Championship 1967. Young international master Anatoly Karpov versus also international master at this time Simeon Palatnik. And we are looking at systems, beginning with the move Knight Ge2. Again, there's an entire playlist discussing all the variations, all the major variations of this opening. So if you're interested in playing the closed Sicilian from the white perspective, check it out. So this game, after G6, Bishop G2, Bishop G7. And there it is, our trademark move that we're discussing in this particular variation. Knight Ge2, E6, D3, Knight Ge7, castles, and Bishop E3. In our last video and game, we saw Boris Spassky playing the provocative Bishop G5. But here, Karpov is a more conservative player, and he sticks with Bishop E3, which has the immediate threat of attacking the C pawn, of course, right here, and threatening the move D4. So Black usually plays Knight D4 to deal with that. Queen D2, all typical closed Sicilian maneuvers. This one is designed to trade off the dark square bishop, thus leaving holes around the weakened dark squares. Palatnik plays Queen A5. There's different options that are available here. Rook B8 can be played. All right. For example, the other knight can come to E6. And also, even D5 has been tried. For instance, E takes D5, E takes D5, and now Knight F4 with a lot of pressure on D5. All right, this was played actually by the British player Alexander against Botvinnik, the famous Nottingham tournament of 1936. In our game, after Queen D2, Palatnik went with the move Queen A5. Knight F4 was played by Anatoly Karpov. D6. And now here we see Rook AB1. Okay. And now Knight E to C6. And this is important to try to cover this square because, of course, with the queen in this vulnerable spot on A5, it invites, moves like A3 and B4 to attack the queen. So here we have it, A3, and now A6. And now Karpov plays the move Queen D1. All right. So he kind of switches his plan, and probably one of the reasons is that, of course, after a move like B4, the A pawn can be captured. All right. So the idea of bringing the queen to D1 is that this knight right here is going to be kicked out by the move C3. And so that means this knight is going to be moved back, right, to E2 first. So this avoids the trade of queens in that instance. So first, queen comes back to D1. B5, and there it is, knight C to E2, bishop B7, and now you see C3. Okay. Knight takes, queen takes, rook A C8. and now h4. Okay, and this is one of those moves again that you see very often in the closed Sicilian. Very provocative because again, sometimes you're not even thinking about really attacking, with h5, but you can provoke weakness, um, from your opponent. So, for example, the move h5, some players are panic, and then now you have, the king side is slightly more vulnerable to attack. Instead, Palatnik plays b4, a takes, c takes, and now d4, playing the center. Okay, so this is a very typical strategy. Also controlling the central squares. White doesn't really have any weaknesses in the position. Okay, and black, although not lost or really in any danger, he has to be careful because with the white space advantage, it's easy to do something dumb, an oversight or something like that, and then next thing you know, you are in trouble. After d4, e5, now rook to a1, queen goes back, d takes, knight takes, and now you see the move bishop d4. So here you see already black's position looking a little bit rickety. Starts breaking down. Rook e8. Okay. But the pride and joy of the black position is this knight on e5. Rook fd1, f5, queen c2 from Karpov. Okay, and it would just be against chess principles to play a move like e takes f5 with the rook just lined up with the queen like that. Again, that's a type of move I would avoid playing just on instinct without even calculating. But just to show you a quick variation is e2, e takes f5 and just knight f3. Dropping the queen. Simple enough. But again, that's something I wouldn't even, after f5, that's something I wouldn't even really consider. I mean, even going to calculations with rook here, queen here, and thinking about making this capture. Sometimes you got to think about stuff like that, but those are like general principles that hold up like 9 out of 10 times. All right, so Karpov gets out of the way. Queen c2, f takes e4. Notice again, he doesn't even capture there. He checks. Queen b3, and knight c4. Bishop h3 from Karpov. And now bishop h6. And the reason why he didn't move the rook is because after bishop e6 check, you're going to win the exchange anyway. So like for instance, if he did that, and you have this double attack here, so you're going to have to give up that rook. So that's why he just said forget it. Play bishop h6. Queen takes b4. Palatnik step back with bishop a8, and now rook takes a6. Bishop takes f4, and now cashing in, bishop takes c8. Bishop d5, protecting this bishop right here. Bishop b7, protecting the knight on c4. Bishop b7. Bishop f7, and now rook a8. Okay. And so, typical Karpov fashion, you got a material advantage, just start trading now material, because the less material on the board, the more the more your advantage is gonna show. Okay, because the more material on the board, the more counterplay that your opponent has a chance to create. So usually when you're up material, the general principle is to trade down material. Okay, because the less material on the board will magnify your advantage. Queen d7. Karpov gets rid of that. Again, now you got the brutal threat here. E3, and then bong, it's over with. Okay, and Palatnik had to resign. So that ends. I think that's game 25, I believe, in our win with the Sicilian series. Again, just briefly, what can we take from this relatively quiet system? Is that again that it just gives you the opportunity to gradually outplay your opponent. If you look at this position, it looks innocuous, right? There's nothing really to write home about here. But you can see Karpov is gradually, right, plays in the center, is his 2-pawn center, and he just gradually outplays his opponent. And notice the weaknesses that creep up on the board. Look at the pawn on a6, d6, and b4 right here, as opposed to just a few moves ago. Right here, black's position looks okay. Okay, at this point. So it gets a little bit ambitious. And next thing you know, black's position looks shaky. Alright, like if you go in the end game, you would like white's chances better. Okay, and continue. Another thing to take away from the game is the superiority of position over material. Okay, Karpov wasn't thirsty to grab the f pawn, for instance, with this queen on e2 and the enemy rook on e8. Even here, he still didn't do it. He still didn't play bishop takes e4 and bring his queen into direct opposition. He continued to improve his position, right? Not being thirsty to grab the material. Only as his position improved, he would grab material. He grabs the pawn on b4 with tempo against the bishop. Again, improving the position while grabbing material. Now the rook is on the 6th rank in enemy territory. Right? And you see how he gradually improved and made it look easy. Alright? And it was easy, I'm sure, for him. At this time in Karpov's career, Karpov was known for playing extremely fast. And this is, it's funny, a similar characteristic that Vishy Anand was known for when he was very young. Is he would play extremely fast. You know, you have these long 4 or 5 hour games where the grandmaster on the other side of the board would use almost all of his time and be in a totally busted position. And you would look on the at Anand's clock or Karpov's clock, and they would use 10-15 minutes for the entire game. So this looks like one of those games where the moves just pretty much flowed, out of the position, and he had no problem with. But again, as usual, please like, subscribe, comment. Suggestions are welcome. If you want me to look at another opening, I'll make do the same thing. We look at a whole bunch of games, commenting on the games. And again, we don't use engines here. We're going on general chess principles and knowledge because I think that's more effective than wasting time with the engine. And please check my links down below. There's DVDs. There's the book associated, with this particular opening, and the DVDs rather. And also there's a donation link. And donations are always appreciated, even if it's just like $1, 50 cents or something like that, just to help out, increase with the quality and production of these videos. So we are going to be continuing with this Knight Ge2 system. And again, if you're interested in this opening, check out the playlist. They're all there. All right, I'll see you on the next one.